In this next video, we're going to put the girders in for on the columns. This is our frame is running this direction, so the girders are running this direction, and we oriented all of our columns in that direction. We're going to do that from the second finished floor. So working on top of the beam, working down. And so I open the second by just double clicking on the second finished floor. I don't need this type of footing anymore because and once again, as I encourage you, turn off views that you're not using because they do use resources. So the first thing we need to know is, well, how deep is this beam? What type of beam do we want to use? And so I'm going to use Ching's rule of thumb that he states on page 4.16 called steel beams. For girders, it's a 1 to 15 ratio, which means 1/15 of the length of their span. And the span, so the first thing let's do, let's get that span. So the span is this distance from A to B, okay, because we're spanning from here to here, unlike the little example I gave there, where we're stopping and putting columns in around the stairs. And so I'm just going to throw a dimension. I'm going to go up here to align dimension, and I'm going to select A and B, and we'll just click out there in blank space, and we'll see it's 35 feet 4 inches. Okay, probably the safe thing to do is just round that up to 36 feet. Okay, and so what we want is a beam that's going to throw in 36 feet. That's a pretty good distance. And so we're going to use his rule of thumb, which is probably going to be oversizing it, but that's okay. We're going to 36, okay? So 36 feet, whoops, clear entry, or clear, 36 feet divided by 15, okay? 1/15 of the 36-foot span equals 2.4 feet, okay? And 2.4 feet is, let's clear entry here. Let's do it in inches and it'll be easier to get that. So 36, whoops, clear. 36 feet times 12 inches per foot gives us 432 feet. And then if we divide that, of course, by 15, then we would get it in inches. So 28.8 inches. Once again, we could round that up or round that down. This is all ballpark kind of schematics. Once again, your engineer, and you're going to work with your engineer. So let's go and find a beam. We're going to go into structure and into beams, and we're going to go load families, and we're going to go to a wide flange beam family right down here. Okay, and we're going to open that up. And then we're going to go down, and you'll see this is 44 inches in depth. Let's go down here. There's 24, 24s, 27s, 27s, and 30s. So we're between a 27 and a 30, halfway between there. And depending on how much depth we needed, we could, add more weight, make it stronger. But we'll just go ahead and let's just go ahead and round up. We'll use the lightest weight 30-inch beam, or the one of the heavier weight 27s. Let's do that. Halfway there, so 27 is 102 to 539. So let's go here 27. Okay, and so we'll say that's. I didn't realize that was already open, but we'll open it. And let's see here. It should have added that 27-inch 235 beam right there. Okay. And so that's what this is going to be as a girder. Okay. And once again, then, where is it going to be placed? Well, it's going to be placed below the floor. Let's take a look real quick. I'm going to open up the north elevation here, of course, which is looking at it from this direction right here. I'm going to open the north elevation real quick and zoom in here so we can get a feel for what it is we're looking at. And if we go over to this column right here, I'll select that so you can see it, a little blue, right? So we go over to this column right here, we're going to see, better yet, this could be better seen actually from the east elevation. So let's go in the east elevation. Okay. No, west. That's what I want. Okay, I'm going to close those and go to the west. Yeah, I'm going to look at it from this side right here. Okay, and so if we're looking at it from that side right there, these are our beams right here. Okay, and then our girders are kind of hidden behind that column right there, but our girders are running into the scene here. But the thing is that this is going to sit, we're going to place our beams inside. Maybe we should look at north. Okay, so let's look at our beams here. You can see there's a beam right there. We can see our beam, our girder right there. And then this is our decking that's sitting on top of it. I'm going to select that so you can see it. And then if we go over here, we'll see it's a 4-inch lightweight concrete deck on top of a 2-inch metal deck. Okay, and that's what we're going to use. I'll explain when we put the decking in, but you'll see right here it's 6 inches total. So our girder needs to sit 6 inches below the finished floor, because the finished floor is the top of that slab. So if it's at 17 feet, then 6 inches below that is going to be 16.6, right? So we're going to start with level 2, but we're going to go a -6 inches down when we place it. So I'm just going to close those views, get them out of my way. We're going to go back up here, and let's select a beam. So structure, beam, 27 inches deep. Okay. I guess because I'd previously drawn it at 6 inches below, it's already at 6 inches below, so that works. The level or reference level is going to be the second level. So we're going to make sure we put that in, and we'll apply that. And so we're ready to draw those beams. So we'll do a little testing here, and we're going to go to the center. We're just going to snap to the grid lines, put the beams in. Oops, that's a girder. We're putting in girders. Site project. Okay, let's delete that. And let's put in girders. Put the girders in because they're creating the frame right here, right? Okay, so we're going to go to the center right there, and then all the way to the other side. Now, since these are the same, we could just copy this, okay, which is probably the easiest way to do it. So I'm just going to select this, and then we'll first let's verify that it's at the right depth, okay. And to do that, what we need to do is come in here and take a look. Once again, we could do it through the wall section, or we could do it through that west elevation. So let's open that west elevation. And if we look right there, oh no, there's our beam right there. Okay, our girder. I'm sorry, I keep calling it the wrong thing. We'll notice there it is, and I can check it real quick just by measuring down. I keep snapping there. There we go. And you can see it's 6 inches. So perfect. Now it's okay if we just copy this here and here. We can probably drop back down to a smaller girder on this like we did here, because our spans are not as great as they were. But I'm just going to go ahead and copy it and show you how to do something. So we're just going to copy this one beam and go back to my level. Girder. Once again, I keep saying beam. We're going to copy. Let's modify. Let's copy. And I'm just going to snap to the very center of that. Try to get that Okay, so now we got our next frame. So we got our frame there, and now we're going to get the last one here. Okay, so now we have our girders in, and we've got our frame. One thing that you'll notice right here is that that's passing through there, and that's not exactly how we would want that to be connected. Okay, so what we're going to do is use what's called a coping function. So let's cope this. I'm going to and see if that works. If you look at coping, what it does, apply coping and then remove coping. If we click on videos loading, you can see that what it does is it trims the beam to the other beam. In this case, in our case, it's going to be a column. You can see it here, how it trims it. It depends on the length. So I'm going to select here. Let's select this first, and then what we want to cope with. And then you'll notice that it really just did a Boolean on that beam. That's really not what we want, or not how it would happen. That we really wanted to break. If the flange of this beam had been out this as wide as the flange on this one, it would have actually just cut the beam in half, or not in half, but in two pieces. So I'm just going to remove that, and we're going to break it then. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. Well, come on. Cope, remove cope. So remove cope. Select the beam and remove that coping from it. So now they're not Boolean or separated. And what I'm going to do is come in here and just break this and readjust the ends. So I'm just going to use the break command, slice this. Am I getting that beam? Virtual frame W, yes I am. So I'm going to slice that beam right there. You can see the slice over here in 3D. And then let's move, we'll just modify this beam, and we'll move this into this beam to this side. Okay, and we'll move this beam to that side. So it would have probably been quicker for me to just have drawn those two separately, but nonetheless, you got to see how they can be adjusted or whatever. On our next video, what we're going to do is come back then and put in the beams that we see in this frame that I did earlier. So I'll put these beams in, and then another video is going to cover how we're going to put in the outriggers for the different mezzanine, support of the mezzanine there, and then we'll come back and put a floor in. Okay,